If I show you two videos, one of them is from YouTube and the other one is from Netflix, which one do you think is going to be better quality? Well, what if I told you that both of these videos are from YouTube, and not only that, both of these videos are from the same channel? Today I will show you 4 secrets the Iman Gadzhi's team used to transform Iman Gadzhi's videos from poorly edited vlogs to now raising quality standards for the whole platform of YouTube. My name is Martin and let's talk about it. So the first thing when you're making a video like Iman Gadzhi is to plan the video, plan the animations. Now, the way I do this is I go throughout the whole video and I choose which segments of the video I will animate. Now, let's go on and actually create animations, right? Now, I already have an idea of animation in my head. So I'm gonna find the asset. I'm gonna show you how you can find an asset too. So let's go on this website. Now, what you're gonna do, search for whatever you're looking for, whatever your imagination is telling you to look for. Now I'm just gonna find one that I truly like and I'm gonna get back to you guys. Okay, so I found the character that I want. It's this one in the middle, right? But now the problem is we have these 2 characters. This is usually gonna happen on this website. You're gonna have a couple more characters that you don't want. You have the background that you don't want. And let me show you how you're gonna do this, right? Now all you have to do is download it, right? Now that you downloaded your project or your characters, whatever, you can go over to this website called photopea.com, which is free. It's like Photoshop, very similar. And let me show you what we're gonna do, right? I just downloaded this project right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this one, right? This project into this website, just like this. And now we have it in our photopea.com. And now we can select each object and do whatever we want with it. We can change the color or we can delete it as we want to. Let me show you, right? So for example, we don't want the background, we can just select it, backspace, delete it. For example, we don't want this character, we can just delete that too. We can delete this one. And now we only have the character that we want, right? Now let's go over and export it as an image. You're gonna go to File, Export As, and PNG. That's it. So now that we got the assets, let's open up After Effects and let me show you how you're gonna animate those assets. So here we have the asset that we just downloaded. Before I animate the asset, I'm gonna animate the surroundings around it, right? I'm gonna add the background. All of the assets that you see in this video can be found in the description below. But now let's get back into the video. Now I'm gonna import the background. Now this is the background that I have. This was made by me. Make sure that you rename all of the assets that you have in your projects just so you keep everything organized. We're gonna rename this to background. Background. We're gonna go and rename this to character. Now we're gonna go and add a camera. You're gonna right click, new, and camera. Okay. Now select everything in your project and click on this icon right here. And this one is actually going to allow these assets to be in 3D environment. And this one is just going to give it that nice motion blur. So it looks more realistic and much nicer and smoother. Now I'm just going to move around and play around with the position where I want my character to be. So I'm probably just going to move it around here, scale it a little bit. This is where I want my character to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and select the background and move it a little bit further from the character and scale it a bit. The more separation that you have between layers, the more depth you're gonna have in the video. So now we have the position. I'm gonna go back to one view because I don't need both views anymore. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over to camera, click P on my keyboard and go over to this stopwatch icon. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this keyframe a little bit forward. And what I'm gonna do is just go to this position and just scale it in a bit. Scale it in a bunch like so. And now we already have animation. Look at this. Now if I click space, this is how the animation will look like, right? But right now it looks bad. It looks really bad. So, you know, we have 2 keyframes, but they look really bad. Now, first of all, for the position, when you're doing this, select both of these keyframes, go to the graph and just click separate. Click this separate dimensions. And now we can, you know, control each position separately. Now what we're gonna do is, currently we are only using forward, back and forth. So this is Z position. We don't need X and Y position right now, so we can just delete it. Now what we're gonna do is select Z position, click F9, just like so. You want to start it with fast, like really fast, and just, make sure it slows down nicely. Let me show you, right? We're gonna do something like this right now. And this is one of my favorite way to start the animations, right? So now that we have this, what I'm gonna do is animate the character so it looks more live, because right now it's static, it doesn't do anything, it just looks boring. So let's go over and animate this, right? We're gonna go over and select the character, we're gonna pre-compose it, I'm gonna make sure to select leaf, right? And we're gonna go over here, we're gonna double click the composition, and now it's gonna open up this, right? Now what we're gonna do is go over to this pin tool right here, and we're gonna select the parts that we want to animate, right? For example, I'm gonna animate the arm smoothing around. So what I'm gonna do is just like select where joints would be, right? For example, we're gonna go and select shoulders, right? We're gonna select the elbows. For example, on this arm, we cannot see the elbow. So I'm just gonna go over and go for hands. We're gonna select hands, both of these, select all the keyframes and just push them towards the start. And now from the start, go a little bit forward. We're gonna animate the head moving down. We're gonna animate the hands going up a little bit, right? Okay, so this really basic animation, it doesn't look that good, but when you're gonna be using puppet tools, don't go overboard. It doesn't really matter, just give it a subtle motion so it makes it more alive. Now select all of the keyframes, right? Select all of the keyframes and press F9 again, just so it has this nice smoother vibe to it. What we're gonna do, select first keyframes that we made, Control C, go a little bit forward, and now what we're gonna do is copy the first ones, and just like so, right? And what you can do is copy these two and just repeat, just like so. And we have ongoing animation that just doesn't end. We go back to our final composition right here. Look, we have the puppet animations. The character feels more alive. It just doesn't feel as static, as boring as before. So now what I'm gonna do is actually animate and add text bubbles over here. So it looks like he's texting someone, right? What I'm gonna do is go over to this tool and make sure that this rounded rectangle tool is selected. We're just gonna make like a bubble, just like so. Now that we made this layer, we're gonna go over here and pre-compose it, move it, just like so. Gonna go over here, the layer, make sure it's in the middle of the screen. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add text to it, right? What I'm gonna do is just select text, and I'm gonna go and write, hey, simple, easy, hey, right? Now the text is going to be black on this one, so let's go over here and make it black, just like so. Now let's make sure to align both of these, just like so. So I'm just going to move everything to the middle. Now we have everything aligned in the middle. Nice. We got the text, we got the bubble. Now let's go over to our composition, and we're gonna go over to here, right here. We're gonna rename it, of course, to hey text, and I'm gonna make it 3D and also add motion blur to it, right? Now we're gonna have to scale it a little bit so it matches the composition, just like so. Now what we can do is we're gonna go over in this composition, we're gonna copy it, we're gonna go over here, paste it, pre-compose it, move it, just like so. I'm gonna go into the composition you just made, and we're gonna change the text. Who are you? Right? Now obviously this doesn't fit, so we're gonna scale it down a little bit. And we're gonna scale the bubble just a little bit. Now we're gonna change the color of the bubble to to this nice blue color, this bluish color, and we're gonna go and change the text to white. I don't like the color. Let me change it again to something like this. Okay, I think this looks good. Gonna go back, right? We're gonna make sure that this is 3D, and also we add motion blur, right? We're gonna scale it down. We're gonna position it just like so to the right of the hey text. But now if we play it back, this is what it looks like, right? So let's animate the text bubbles, right? We're gonna do a nice sliding effect. So I wanted to start around here. What I'm gonna do is click B, so position. And what we're gonna do is go a little bit forward, select it, go back to the first one, go down. Now what we're gonna do is go keyframes, go to the graph, separate them like we did before. But now what we're gonna do is for the Y position, we're gonna animate it, press F, go to the graph, and now we can do this. We're gonna do this type of graph where it starts off super fast and it goes too slow. So it looks like this, right? Nice. You're also gonna make sure that the composition starts here. So before you cannot see it, just like so. Here's how it looks like. Perfect. Now we're also gonna animate the opacity for it. Go a little bit, you're gonna press T on your keyboard, turn on this stopwatch, go a little bit forward. Make sure that the first keyframe is set to 0. Now you should get something like this, right? And what we can do, right? And now do the same for whole. We're gonna do the same for this one. Position, position, go a little bit, couple of frames forward, create a keyframe, select both of the keyframes, go to the graph, separate them. And what we're gonna do is go to the first keyframe, put the layer a little bit like this, go to the select Y, and F9 for both of these. Here we go. And I'm also gonna add opacity to it. Now this is what we made, right? Doesn't look too bad. Now it doesn't look that good yet, but let me show you how we're gonna fix this, right? I'm gonna go over to effects and search for drop shadow, right? We should have it right over here. I'm gonna select it over to, I don't know, this layer, opacity 200. I'm just gonna play around with the settings until I find something I like. I think this looks good. If you want, you can copy my settings. I'm gonna copy it over to hey text. We should get something like this. Now the text just pops a little bit more. Just like so. I'm also gonna copy this drop shadow to the character, just like so. This already looks a lot better now. Now I do not like how the character is colored. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it black and white. The easiest way you can do this is go to character, go to effects, search for tint, and just drag this effect onto the character. Now we should have it in black and white. I think this goes a lot nicer on the eye. It just looks a lot cleaner. But now I do not like how these bubbles look. I think they look basic. I think they just don't look good. So I'm gonna add my secret sauce effect to that also, which you can also get if you are a part of LPM media community. But let me just add them and get back to you. Okay, so now I added the effects to the bubbles. I think that they look much better now, but now let's add the final effects and we are finished with the animation. Now the animation is finished, but there is something missing. The animation doesn't look complete yet. Let me show you what I usually do to kind of fix this. What we're gonna do is add effects. I'm gonna add an adjustment layer, I'm gonna add my secret sauce of effects onto this layer that you can get by following the steps in the description or in the comments of this video. I spent years trying to perfect the effects for the animations, and I finally made it. And just with the effects I'm gonna apply right now, I've gained so many clients over the years. It's unimaginable. If you want to get these effects, follow the steps in the description. You are not going to regret it. I just added all the effects from my pack, and let me show you how it looks before. This is what it looked before, and this is what it looks like after. Now, there is a massive difference between these two animations. So the instructions to how you can get these effects are going to be in the description below. But now if you play back this animation, it looks good. It looks good, but there is something missing, right? If we take a look at Iman Gadzhi's animations, even the simplest animations just feel so entertaining. But there is something very, very important missing. That thing is one of the most important parts of the animation. And that, my friend, is sound design. So let's get into the next chapter of this video, which is going to be sound design. Open up Premiere Pro, import your animation into your project. Right now I only have the animation. So now we're going to add sound design. Now, how do you add sound design? Now, the way you're going to be adding sound design is by watching the clip. Now, watching the clip and just imagine the things that are happening on screen, what they would sound like in real life. Just imagine, right? You're standing by the street and there is a fast sports car that just zooms right by you. Now, what sound would that car make, right? Just imagine it in your head. It would be like a swoosh that went by you. It would be the engine. It would be the birds in the background. And that is what you have to imagine. You really have to be creative with sound design, right? And you just have to mimic what's happening on the screen and try to replicate it. Now, let me show you how to do that, right? So, for example, we have this clip right here that we just made, right? Now, it's super quiet. We don't have nothing, no sound design. Now, so for example, for the start, where the camera is moving out, I'm going to add a whoosh sound design. All right. We're going to make it a little bit more quiet for the start. See, this already looks and sounds a lot better than it did before. Now, let me show you how you can make your sound effects sound like 100 times better. Where you're going to go is you're going to go to the effects panel. You're going to search for low pass. And you're going to drag it onto the clip. Then you're going to search for reverb. And you're going to add studio reverb. Now you're going to go to the studio reverb, edit, and you're going to select Great Hall. And just with the low pass, just play around what sounds good. It's going to be different for every sound effect, and you stick with what sounds good to you. And what you can also do, right, with these sound effects is you can go and right click on them, speed and duration, and slow them down. This swoosh effect is going to give you this nice, smoother effect that just sounds a lot better. Right. For the first one, what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to make it super slow. I'm going to put it to like 45. Right. I'm going to alt drag it and duplicate it. I'm going to duplicate it. Now, right here, the message pops up. I'm going to do another whoosh. I'm going to make it a little faster. I'm going to, about 70%. Make sure that when you're adding whooshes, the highest part in this waveform is where the most movement is happening, right? For example, like this, right? And we're going to duplicate it for the other text animation, just like so. And this already sounds 100 times better. But let me show you how you can make it even better. Like, for example, let's add a notification for the sound effects, right? We're going to add a notification for when the message actually happens. Now, the best advice I can give you with sound effects is try to be as creative as possible. The same, like just as with the animation, try to be as creative as possible, and definitely try playing around with different effects, slowing down the clips, making them longer, making them smoother, making them quieter, making them louder. Make sure that each audio clip is unique. You can have the same audio clip, like the same whoosh effect, but make some quieter, make some louder, make some more reverb, and you can just play around and get something that sounds really good, like this. So now we finished the sound effects, but there is still something missing, and that is music. Iman Gadzhi does that very well, but let me show you how you can find similar music to Iman Gadzhi. You can find similar music on Epidemic Sound and Artlist. If you're going to be looking for the music on Epidemic Sound, you go here and search by mood, and you're going to go down here to mysterious. This is what he usually uses. He uses music that is mysterious and ambient, right? Uses mysterious and ambient music. So for example, something like this, right? That is something he would definitely use in his videos. He uses this mysterious and ambient music. But now let's add it to our project and see how it sounds. Now let's see how our project sounds so far. Okay, sounds great. But let's say I want to end the music right here, but the music is much further. If I just cut it like this, it doesn't sound right. So let me show you where you can end the music of every single project you're ever going to do, right? So we already cut it where we want it. Now let's go to the end of the music and see this right here. This is the ending of the music, right? We're going to cut it right here, right? We're going to drag this over to right here. We're going to add reverb to this. Go to edit and add Great Hall. And now we should get something like this. And I think that doesn't sound too bad, right? You can definitely play around. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you are interested in getting any of these assets in the video, go in the link in the description. And if you want the secret sauce to perfect animations and the effects that I use, follow the instructions down below in the description. But if you're interested in even more secrets from Iman Gadzhi, you can watch the video right here.